Either the other businessman will pay for me not to get the license. But what I'm saying is that you also need to have the willingness not to pay.
Okay, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, I mean, do you think they're letting business off the hook?
No, I think they've got it right in that the powers that the government has today, the administrative discretion that they have to give licenses and to give assets away is a root cause of corruption. You have to go to where the source of the corruption is. It is the administrative discretion and the complete unfettered, unmonitored kind of power that government has to give away things to people, whether it's land, it's infrastructure or resources. If you nip that in the bud, trust, I mean, my conviction is that you
bring
will...
the governments and the chief ministers down to size, cut them down to size. Take away a lot of their power. Okay, all right, on that note, we're going to throw it open to the audience for your questions. The motion is there is no honest business in India. Please put your hand up and stand up. We'll get a microphone to you. Gentleman up there.
I want to float this question to Mrs. Kripalani and Mr. Shinde, please. What do you think? To curtail the corruption, what is your opinion? Will the system to be enhanced, to be improved in India, or the human conscience need to be improved?
Well, I think that the systems need to be less discretionary, and that will really help, as Rajiv said. That is something that is right. But what you said, do humans need to improve? I think part of the problem, the corruption and dishonesty has seeped into our system so much that young people actually can't tell right from wrong anymore. And sometimes they think that paying a bribe is just something else that you do. It's an additional tax. And in fact, somebody has to tell them.
You really think that's true?
Yes, absolutely.
You have to teach people what is right and wrong?
They don't know, because the systems have become so convoluted that there is no place that you can just say this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. They don't know anymore what's right and wrong.
You don't know the difference between right and wrong? Gentleman in the front row, you say you don't know the difference.
I think it's putting it too simply that you know or you don't know. I think when you're out there, you have a choice. At any given point of time, we as youngsters or as in the youth, we have a choice. And the thing is that not everybody is making the right choice. That is the difference. So it's not about
the question is, do they know they're not making the right choice?
But it doesn't matter if you're not making the right choice.
So it matters whether you can tell good from evil, doesn't it?
No, not if you don't execute it. If you still end up paying the bribe, it doesn't matter.
Anybody else? Gentleman over there in the front row.
So I'd like to get your point of view, both from the against and the for. We're talking about this context. There is one, if you look at the human value system, so there are two things. One is human values, the education, and then on top of that is the governance, which also has systems and processes, as a part of the integral system, right, which manages that. So what's your view? Because I feel that personally it's essentially the human values and the education and the value system.
So what are you saying? The responsibility starts with business?
With people first.
With ordinary people?
With ordinary people first, business, and then the government.
Captain Gopinath.
Yeah. What's your view on that?
No, I tend to agree with Rajiv. See, the best of us are not free from greed for power and money and wealth. Most of us, given a chance, I mean, that is the assumption that you will put your hand into the till. So therefore, on the one hand, you need to have systemic changes, in terms of the discretion should be taken out as far as possible while allocating government resources or government decisions, whether it's a driving license, as simple as that, a birth certificate, a death certificate. We know that to get a birth certificate, you're going to go and bribe. As well as a larger license, for example, you want an airline license, you should be able to get it if you fulfill all the requirements. But there's always a clause there where the minister need not give it at his discretion.
Basically what I have an answer for him is that there's no honesty in our society, there's no discipline in our society, unless one inculcates those habits not only in oneself, but also in the children. The society can't change. Now, I'll give a simple example. A person who is caught for a traffic offense, he is not going to obey the law, pay his fine, go to the court, plead guilty, saying that he has committed an offense, but he wants to pay half the penalty to the cop, take no receipt, and forget about it. Number one. I receive a large number of clientele, including corporates, including businessmen, including political leaders, including, criminals. I defend the underworld. 99% of them, when they come to me, they are already accused of a crime. They want to commit a further crime by buying a judge or a prosecutor or by a cop.
And they ask you to do that.
And they want to know whether it can be done. And I end up being a loser. So therefore, this is the kind of morality in our country. I don't say it's only in our country, but it's so in all the developing countries.
So what's the answer?
The answer is to, I said, that inculcate, honesty in oneself, discipline in oneself, preach morality. It's very rare that a successful businessman like Gopinath quit his airline business to start another new company which was free from corruption. It's another factor that, Rajiv, he had a successful mobile company, a BPL or a telecom company. Had he been existing in that business today, I'm sure I would see him in the 2G court. And his license would have been cancelled.
This is true.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. There are very few of them who will quit businesses.
You can answer that for yourself. You don't have to accept it.
Let me just, this is a good question and I want to answer this anyway, but this issue of why I left telecom, I've been asked this question many times, maybe not by this audience. I left and I gave an interview the day I left saying that, look, I don't want to be in this sector anymore because the only challenge left is to lobby the Minister for Free Spectrum and I'm not good at it, nor do I want to do it. So that's why I left. But going back to your question, I think it's a very important question. This unfortunate thing is about we reduce corruption to an issue of a debate on moral values. I'm sorry, I disagree with Satish on this. This is not about morality or education or any of this. This is about dysfunctional government. If we can bring in oversight of the government, more disclosure, more awareness in the media about what is right and wrong in terms of what the government does. It's about systems, oversight, disclosure. It's about knowledge amongst all of you in deciding who's a good minister, who's doing wrong, who's doing right. This has nothing to do with moral values. Remember, we are 1.1 billion people. We can never have 1.1 billion honest people. There'll always be a crook. This is true.
So why do you keep voting for governments that perpetuate the system of corruption?
That is the proportionate form of election. We have 30% votes getting people into power. There is no elected representative of India today that represents 100% of the electorate. This is the flaw of this proportionate representation system, which is that if you get 25% of the vote, you are the elected representative. You are representing 25% of the people, but are not representing 75%.
And the fact that you have 31% or something like that of MPs and members of the legislative assemblies who've either been indicted or are under investigation at the moment.
That proves my point, is exactly the point, that 25% of the people are sending crooks to parliament.
And happy to do
and 75% of the people either sit silently or watch television or go on holiday.
And happy to do so and go on doing so.
Yeah, exactly. And then they moan and groan about it on shows like this.
Manjeet Kripalani. They're not just moaning and groaning.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to get into that debate, but just going back to you can't do honest business. If you, we're talking with a primarily urban audience, but the vast majority of India is rural. Ask them to try starting a business. The reason our services economy is so huge is because they're all self-employed because they aren't getting jobs. And part of it is the poor are more dependent on government services for their livelihood. They cannot get a government service, including their own pensions, without paying a bribe. It is really outrageous. How are we going to fix that? That is the issue.
Among the young people that we have in the audience, who's looking to set up a business in the next few years? Who wants to go into business? Okay, gentleman over there, would you stand up? Do you have any expectation that you're moving into a pretty corrupt world?
Yes, I do know about that. But still, as these gentlemen who we here, they are a kind of inspiration for me. I would try my level best. But
you know the difference between right and wrong.
For that answer, I should say yes, I do know. But it has been into our system that corruption is not a big challenge. Say, as he said, even bribing the policemen when we get caught, it has become so normal for us. Knowing the difference, I do it. So it's like we all know. It's not that nobody knows.
You know the difference, but you'll go ahead and pay the bribe
anyway. It has become so normal for us that we don't think it as an offense.
Gentleman in the third row there, yeah. Do you think you'll be able to withstand what everybody says is this avalanche of corruption?
Yes, I do think, and for that I just want to ask a question. Can there be some modes of more transparent modes of doing business at that level?